it's Liam the Def Doom Metalhead with a brand new video of Def and Dooming all over the world. If you're new to my channel, basically these videos are me picking a country and then I showcase all the best, well in my opinion, all the best death metal, doom metal and sometimes black metal and all the kind of extreme stuff of that country and kind of showcase it, because the idea is to kind of show bands that don't normally get a lot of love on the BC, so more obscure bands, underground, that kind of vibe. Obviously there'll be some big ones because, you know, you can't not talk about the bigger bands, but I try and mention bands that people haven't heard of before, and you know the whole point of it is to try and get you into some new music. So anyway, yeah, 272 subscribers, 271 now, which is insane. So thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel. I really am grateful. And it's now put more pressure on me to do more videos, because I didn't think I'd really get that far doing this kind of thing, maybe 50 to 100 subscribers, but nearly at 300 now, and it's yeah, quite cool. Anyway, I've picked quite a few bands because doing America I thought would be a good idea, because with the current presidential election and all that kind of shit, you know, it's all on the news on my TV, and if I put the news on my Alexa, you know, that's all I hear. So I thought, why not do one on America, because I've got so many bands from the States. I've got death metal, doom metal, the two combined, one funeral doom side, one, you know, traditional side. And yeah, I thought I could pick out some quite cool bands. Some of them you've already seen on my channel before if you're a long-term subscriber, but some of these you might have not seen before, so hopefully you'll discover something new. Anyway, kicking off, I've picked a quite topical band that used to be really popular, and then they had slight problems, and then they kind of went off the radar, and they haven't been heard from for a while now, but they put out one really strong album. And the band in question is the band Disma. Now, they only have one album, and actually came out I think in 2011 through Dementia Records, called Towards the Megalith, I think it was, and I can't get a copy of it anywhere. I really want it because it's such a strong album, but like it goes for like 60-70 quid plus, and then you've got to try and import it over here. The CD costs even more than that because it's even rarer, but you know what they did really well was they did the kind of sludgy doomy stuff, almost like Incantation. And when I kind of researched the band, I didn't realise a lot of the members are from Incantation or were in the band in the early 90s and, you know, throughout their history. And you can really hear it in their sound. Now, this is a split with Convulse, which is a Finnish death metal band, so ignore them. But Disma, brilliant. But the problem they got is they had a lot of flack because their original vocalist was a Nazi sympathiser. And it became really apparent, and he was putting out new bands pretty much all about Nazis and how great they were and all that kind of thing, and it, you know, gave the band, for obvious reasons, a really bad name. So they did the right thing and they kicked him out, and they haven't found a replacement yet, so they've gone quite quiet for, you know, quite a while now. But they were getting stopped from playing festivals because other bands are going to pull out if they played, and you know, all sorts of stuff like that, which you do not need when you're in a band. If you've got one member holding you all back, the obvious thing to do is just cut them loose. It's as easy as that. Even if you're friends, you know, at the end of the day, if your hobby is being affected, or even your income, if you're making money from it, you know, you need to cut them loose. So yeah, an absolute amazing band. And I've had this 7-inch for a little while now, and it's, you know, really happy to have it. But that's what the LP came like. Quite a little, nice little 7-inch. So yeah, and I will eventually get that album at some point in the future, if I can find it at a good price. So, a lot of these bands I've picked, you know, I've got some older ones that started the whole thing, and then we kind of progress into the newer school of death and doom, as it were. This band are fantastic. Trouble, this came out mid-80s maybe, I don't know. This is their self-titled debut. It was originally just called Trouble, but then they put the Psalm 9 bit in there later on, I believe. And this is a reissue through Hammerheart this year, and this is an amazing album. Riffs galore. If you're a fan of like Thin Lizzy and Black Sabbath, they combined both of those perfectly. And yeah, I instantly loved this band when I first heard them. Got a psychedelic kind of tinge to it on their latter albums, but this one is more groovy, traditional sounding doom, very bouncy, with bags of great guitar melodies and shreddy solos and the dual harmonies, and it's fantastic. Vocals were kind of weird for me at first, kind of reminded me of Rush a little bit with that kind of sheep-like sound that Geddy Lee has. Eric Wagner, I think his name is the vocalist, and he has that kind of meh kind of sound to his vocals, but the riffs kind of save it, and once you listen to it, it's kind of like when you first ever hear King Diamond, you think it's completely out obscene that he can sing like that, but then after a while it really makes sense. So yeah, Trouble, brilliant album. And then this one is one of my favourite bands of all time, mentioned in my last video, mentioned in quite a lot of my videos, and I don't care. And that is Solitude Eternus with their debut, Into the Depths of Sorrow. This came out in 1990 through Road Racer. Brilliant epic doom. Robert Lowe on vocals, John Perez on guitar. Combine the two, you get an amazing band. This band was so consistent, and it's a shame they don't exist anymore, but you know, the albums they put out, I only need one more and I have all of them on LP. I just need Beyond the Crimson Horizon, another one that's so hard to get hold of for a good price. Last time I bid on it on eBay, it went for over 100 quid. You know, I was completely wiped out. But I managed to get a copy of this one for a decent price. And yeah, I fucking love this band, and they can't do nothing wrong. I've listened to these for years and years since I was a teenager, and you know, I could still put one of these on and still enjoy it. So Solitude Eternus. And the last one on the old guard. Now, the only reason I mention this album is because it's the kind of introduction for me to the death metal with the slower, doomier-like riffs. And that is obviously Morbid Angels' Domination. Now, I don't really need to talk about this band at all because everyone knows who Morbid Angel are. But for me, this album, even though the album cover is shockingly bad, it's still very personal to me. It's my introduction to Death and Doom almost, because when I heard Where the Slime Lives, Hate Work, those kind of tracks that were very, very slow, chuggy, doomy like riffs. And obviously when this was written, Def Doom maybe existed, but more in a traditional My Dying Bride kind of style, not, you know, double kick galore, blast beats, that kind of thing mixed in with doom riffs. And this album's killer for me. There's riffs everywhere and all sludgy, slow and horrible. And yeah, Gateways to Annihilation is probably the only other Morbid Angel album that kind of has this style. The rest of them, you know, all completely different. So yeah, Morbid Angel. And then this is the latest release, I think it came out last year, from this My Dying Bride clone almost from America. And that is November's Doom. They came out pretty much the same time as My Dying Bride in the early 90s. And you know, they have their own style. They don't obviously sound like My Dying Bride, but the formula is pretty much the same. You got the death metal vocal style with the clean singing, and the female vocals are in there now and again. But the riffs on this are really chuggy. This is the one from last year, which is, you know, a really good return to form, because Bled White wasn't really my thing. A little bit of it was. And then the one after that, I can't even remember the name of it, didn't really appeal to me. But this one, I got when I was in a festival in Portugal, because the record for this cost a fortune to buy on vinyl. I don't know why they're so expensive. I've probably not pressed that many. But I think these guys are based in Chicago, like Trouble are. And yeah, really consistent band. I really like the artwork on this album as well. It's a really good album. So yeah, go check out November's Doom if you haven't, because they are one of my favourite bands as well. And then they got this one, which a lot of people probably heard of, but it's a really hard listen. I'll get it out of the case because you won't see it. This is Evoken, Funeral Doom. Been around since I think the early 90s. And yeah, they create an atmosphere that's so horrible. Very cavernous sound, echoes, reverb everywhere, delay is just soaked in it. And it's not an easy listen. This is their second release, Embrace the Emptiness, but as a band, every album has been consistent for me. Same kind of style and tone, they haven't lightened up over the years. They still kind of bring out that whole heavy, miserable sound that they're really good at creating. And yeah, for Funeral Doom out of the States, that's one of the strongest bands out there is Evoken. So go check them out. And now all these ones are pretty much put out in the last 5-6 years maybe. A lot of them are new ones as well. But they are what I would class as the best death/doom style bands out there at the moment for the States anyway. I'll kick off with one that came out a couple of weeks ago. I've shown before. Fires in the Distance. Melodic Def Doom. And these guys, this is their debut, but they're on to a winner already. If they can make another album that sounds like this, but you know, obviously change it up a little bit, I think they'll be even more popular. This sold out pretty much straight away when it was pressed. They're already onto their second pressing within a month, which is fantastic for an underground band. Got signed to Prophetic Records, and it'll just come out, you know, maybe mid-October. Brilliant album. Mentioned it in my collection update. You know, I really, really enjoy this album. It's such a good album. The artwork is fantastic as well, which is always a winner for me. So go check those guys out. And then this band, really heavy, and they create loads of atmosphere, and it's soaked in such a reverby, sludgy sound. It's really hard to kind of pick out stuff. I can't pronounce the band name very well, but I'll give it a go. It's Sep Eternal Dusk, maybe, with a Cenotaph of Defectious Creation. Probably butchered that album title, but there you go. But that album artwork is awesome. Clearly wasn't designed for a record though, because it doesn't fill the whole jacket. I'm guessing this was pressed on CD and and then people wanted it on record. But I really like the artwork. It's really cool and it really fits the theme of the music. Really sludgy, horrible Def Doom. It's put out through Dark Descent Records, which is a fantastic label for this kind of style of music. If you see that logo, you know you're on to a winner normally. And yeah, listened to these guys once, instantly liked it. And it's come out in 2018, I think. And it's a really, really strong album. Very, very sludgy. And if you like bands like Incantation or Topsy, you're onto a winner there. And then these guys kind of combine the two, more death metal with a bit of thrash, a tiny bit of hardcore maybe, and then there's some slow doomy stuff in there as well. And that is Creeping Death with Wretched Illusions. I think this either came out last year or the year before. When did it come out? It doesn't. 2019. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, this is an amazing band. The artwork sold it for me straight away. I saw that and I thought, yep, I'm gonna like that. Band logo, check. Yep, I'm gonna like that. And then musically, fantastic. Really riffy, very razor sharp in the tone. The vocal style is very growly, barky kind of style, in your face. And they have some fantastic riffs. So go check out Creeping Death. And if I was doing America and I was talking about Death and Doom, I'm obviously going to mention one of my favourite bands, Daylight Dies. I talk about these guys loads again because they're brilliant. This is the last album they put out. They haven't put out anything since. This came out in 2017 through Candlelight. And yeah, if you like all their previous albums, they haven't changed much. It's still the same great Death Doom style with that really technical melodic riffs they write. Really good clean vocals, really good growly stuff. They combine everything into a really nice package. And they're very chilled out on some of the tracks as well. So you kind of get a mixture of really aggressive stuff, but not in your face. It's more, melodic and chilled. So yeah, Daylight Dies. And then this band, again, it's a new release, come out this year, completely new to me. I think they're based either in New York or around that area. I could be wrong though. This is Funeral Leech with Death Meditation. Brilliant band. Really good Death Doom. Really horrible sounding. Loads of atmosphere. And they create that kind of traditional sound in the guitar tone. No overproduction. It all sits really nicely. The drums sound really natural. And yeah, and it flows really nicely. One of my favourites from this year. Purely because, one, it sounds killer, but the record itself, it looks awesome as well. I love that inlay as well there. And yeah, they're a brilliant band. And again, I think this is their debut as well. So they're on to a winner as well if they keep writing stuff like this. So yeah, Funeral Leech, Death Meditation. And then these guys, I checked these out a while ago. I listened to this for ages and ages. And then I tried to buy it. I couldn't get my hands on it. And then I got a CD copy. And then 2 months later, they repressed it. And I think they've repressed it again. So I obviously was really impatient. But that is Multisphere, if you can read that band logo, which I doubt you can. But this came out through Profound Law in either 2019 or 2018. The artwork's different. I'm not sure what's really going on, but very cavernous sounding Death Doom. Bags of riffs. It has that Disma sound, like I mentioned in the first album I showed, or split, should I say. It's got that kind of Incantation blueprint with the really chuggy riffs, swampy style atmosphere. But yeah, what I like about these guys is they make everything sounds natural. Like the drums, they're not triggered or anything like that. It's all natural sounding. And you can kind of picture them playing in a basement, playing this kind of style of music. And yeah, the album's called Disgorged from Psychotic Depths and is pretty much a future Death Doom classic in my eyes. Give it 10 years and people will still be talking about this album, how great it was. A lot of people prefer the EP they did before this. I haven't actually listened to that yet, but I hear a lot of good things about that as well. So yeah, Multisphere. And then these guys, I love these guys as well, really riff heavy. And my guitarist Andy, I think, must know these guys because they're massive fans of BC Rich guitars like him. And that is Out to Heaven with Realms of Eternal Decay. This is the first press of it. They've just recently repressed it on some really cool colours and put out a live album from this year as well, which is awesome. I love the artwork on this as well. It's just, yeah, you do a gatefold and you've got full artwork on there. Instant win for me. This came out through Relapse in, do you know, I don't know, maybe last year, 2018. Yeah, a couple of years ago. But yeah, really riff heavy, slow and stompy in some parts, but a lot of it's razor sharp, fast, groovy stuff. They combine the best of both worlds. Kind of like in the vein of that Creeping Death band that I showed earlier, but these guys have more of a guttural vocal style, not such a harsh barking style. And yeah, brilliant, brilliant album. Very, very popular at the moment, and rightfully so. And then this one I've shown before a couple of times, and I love the artwork still, and I love the album. Pestilent Death with Chapters of Depravity. Look at that artwork. That is awesome. These guys are really slimy, horrible death metal with lots of doomy atmosphere. Again, the Incantation Blueprint comes to mind. Very much inspired by that style. And yeah, autopsy style as well, you could say. This came out through Blood Harvest and Rotted Life. It's a joint split of it. And yeah, I love this album. I think this came out in 2018 as well. And yeah, you already know when you look at this what you're going to get, you know, straight away. And it's such a good album. It's really, you know, riffy and horrible, you know, which I absolutely love in my music. And then this is these last three actually are 2020 releases, because at the moment Def Doom in America is so strong, and these guys are right at the front for me. Temple of Void with their latest The World That Was. Got all three of their albums, and all three are fantastic and also slightly different. Now, what I like about Temple of Void is they have that Morbid Angel domination style guitar riffing, but the vocals are more guttural, in your face, and they also put a lot of psychedelic atmospheric elements into the music, kind of broaden it out a bit, thicken it up. And they have like nice acoustic instrumentals, all that kind of thing. And these guys have just gone from strength to strength from each album. My favourite probably is the second one from them. That's probably my favourite album from them, but either way, every album they've put out is fantastic. And artwork wise, you know, you're getting value for money there. This came out through Shadow Kingdom Records, and I believe they've now just been signed to Relapse, so the next one will be even easier to get hold of, because Relapse records are very easy to get hold of, whereas these ones normally cost a bomb to try and import over. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, Temple of Void, go check them out because they are very, very good. And this one is another 2020 release, and one that was completely under my radar, and I wasn't really keen when I first heard it, but when I listened to it properly, it really sunk in, and I really enjoyed it. They used to be a black metal band, but they're now a funeral doom band, and that is Worm with Gloomlord. This is a very challenging listen to start with, and when you get your head around it, you start to get it more, and you can, you know, you understand the atmosphere and the direction the album's going. Because when I first heard it, I wasn't keen on the organ-like keys that are in it. It just sounded a bit weird to me at first, but once I got my head around that part, I started to really, really enjoy this, because the vocals have got some really nice weird effects on it that kind of layer it into like a swampy, sludgy sound, because obviously looking at it you can tell they're proper into the swamp sound, you know. There they are on the back. But yeah, I mean, I know Ken's Death Metal Crypt featured these guys a couple of days ago, and I haven't got around to watching it yet. It's on my list of things to do. But yeah, this album is fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It took me a good 2 listens to properly get into it, but once I got my head around and got past that whole organ-like sound, I actually started to appreciate it more and how it creates and builds the atmosphere for the songs. And they're all really well written. So yeah, go check them out. It's a very good album. Not an easy listen, but once you get your head around it, you'll enjoy it. And then these guys, you could easily mistake them for being Mexicans, but they're not. They're Americans. I forget where they're from though, but they are very, very good. This has come out through Southern Lord Records this year again, and that is Javalba with Anos in Inferno. And yeah, I mean, their previous album, which has got a load of Aztec temples on it as well, was a bit more thrashy, a bit more speedy. This one has got loads of stompy, slow doom metal riffs in it. And it, yeah, the last track I fucking love. It's got a nice melodic lead on it. It builds really nicely. And they're not labelled as a Def Doom band or anything like that, so they've obviously kind of changed their style slightly maybe, or just kind of slowed down a bit, made it heavier. But I love the artwork on this album. That is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, even if you look at the art, you know, picture of the band now, you'd think, oh yeah, Mexicans. No. Not at all. And yeah, it's just a brilliant album, and very under the radar. Not a lot of people are talking about this. I've seen a few people mention it, but these guys are doing some brilliant music at the moment. It's very, very riffy. So go check Javalba out. And then the last one is another one with the first album, or the one prior to this was very fast, and then this one has come out and it's very much a slower record. Came out last year through Relapse again, and that is Gaycreeper with Deserted. Fantastic album, brilliant band. Have that HM2 sound, but not chainsaw-like Swedish death metal, more toned down just a little bit so they can play the fast stuff without losing it in the mix. But this album's got loads of stompy doom metal riffs in it, which I really fucking like. And a band I would love to see live because they are brilliant. No nonsense, death metal with some doomy tinges in there, and a very, very popular band. So yeah, Deserted. So that was my picks for, you know, Death and Doom and all over the world in the States. I hope you enjoyed the bands. Let me know if I missed any out. I mean, obviously there's Autopsy, Cannibal Corpse. I could have mentioned them, but everyone knows them. I'm trying to keep it underground, but mention a few big ones here and there. So yeah, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and like the video and tell me what you thought about it. Really appreciate the new subs I got. That is fantastic, and it's keeping me motivated to make more videos, because I know some people pretend that they don't want subscribers, but you wouldn't make videos if you didn't want them. So I'm really appreciative of it, and I love people that are feedback and commenting below. So yeah, please take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Cheers.